Hello! I'm back after 2 months, and I'm finally making a review and editing this sleepin' banger of an indie game. Man, which, by the way, only cost me 4 buckos, mind you, 4 buckos. CAD, which is Canadian, by the way. But original price being like 7, so I'm just saying, either way, good price, but good price for a game, all worth it. This game, literal, like, little to no, like, bad things to say about this game. It was just a solid go through, just all throughout. Like, I love this game. Only good things to say here. But before I jump into this review, I would absolutely love to thank you all for the reception of the last video. I didn't expect 5.6k views as of the time of editing this, which is what it's at. Because I was already taken away. I was baffled when I hit 70, mind you. But seeing what it's at, like, holy, like, I came out of nowhere. But thank you all for that, and thank you for commenting too. I didn't expect comments or anything. I loved all the criticism, like, just loved people sharing their thoughts with me, and I thank you for that. And one especially, it tickled my chuckles. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty good. But yeah, let's jump into it. This review, instead of what I did last time where I just did gameplay and then I went into the review, I can't timestamp, so I'm not gonna do that this time, at least for now. So I'm just gonna jump into basically the review, but I'm gonna break it down for you guys who are watching. So I'm gonna be reviewing the game's opening, the tutorial, the graphics / art style, story, characters, soundtrack, and gameplay, and of course bugs. But yeah, so, and then after I'll give you my rating out of 10, and yeah, I hope you like it. Thank you. So I'd like to break down gameplay first, because it's pretty simple. Obviously, from as you could tell, it's a turn-based shooter, and personally, I've never actually played too much of these. If I'm being completely straight with you, the only turn-based games that I've actually played is like Wizard 101 and Pirate 101, and that was years ago. So I couldn't make, honestly, comparisons or anything like that. Like, I've never even played like your main turn-based shooter games, being like Final Fantasy, because, like, you know, fuck that shit. That game is kind of trash from what I've seen. But with SteamWorld Heist, it's not too difficult. It looks more difficult than it is, like, from my gameplay here. But the whole idea, obviously, is to clear waves of enemies, like, on, like, a certain, like, level. And you have to, like, ricochet off walls. You can work with basically just the environment, like, around you. But it gets a lot harder than as it seems later on, because you get, like, obviously tons more enemies, and it gets awkward. So that's when you have to work with the whole ricocheting effect and everything. So it's simple concept, but they do a lot with it, and especially with the workings of the characters. So on screen here, I have the Captain and Seabrass, and between those two characters, Captain is supposed to be like a sniper, for example, and Seabrass is more of like one of your bulky characters, like your typical, like, uses like shotguns, bazookas, things like that. And so it definitely creates a different dynamic between like the characters and the setups that you want to like make for like a level. Um, so if you want a character that can like shoot farther, more precisely, makes it easier maybe for aiming. So like the sway doesn't bother you as much. You'd want to use like a sniper. And if you'd want to combine that with like a more bulky character to to absorb more of the blows and stuff to bring them closer to make shit easier. I wouldn't really know how to describe it really, um, but it's pretty fun. I had a pretty good time with it. It wasn't anything like crazy, um, but it was fun and it was new for me, so I definitely enjoyed that. Um, Especially with the character like classes and stuff, it's really fun to mix. Uh, with that, they had they had multiple classes, going from like Vanguard to Bounty Hunter to Sentry and Flanker and Brawler, and they had uh, one that was like a DLC. I didn't get it obviously, but it's called like Outsider, whatever that means. It's not as weird as it sounds with all the classes. It's really just like your sniper, which obviously everybody knows what that is, and your, which is called in this game, your sentry characters, because they plop themselves down somewhere and then they're meant to like get easy access to kind of like shooting at the other enemies and stuff. And then your flanker, which obviously is pretty self-explanatory, just the ones that can move like longer distances and move around to get behind to to get the punch. And vanguards being more of like your tanky, bulky characters that use like the heavy weapons, and the brawler, which is like the one odd one because there's only one character of such, but basically just gets up in the face of the enemies and just close combat. And the bounty hunter, which honestly works the same as a flanker pretty much. I couldn't really tell you the difference, honestly. Maybe someone in the comments that knows can like correct me on that, but it didn't really feel too much different from the flanker. So at the end of each level, they have this thing called swag that you collect throughout playing the level. So you'll see swag bags, and then at the end of the level, you collect swag, like the currency. Now, swag bags, all they do is, at the end of a level, you get items from them. Which basically you use to, like, upgrade your characters by giving them new weapons, new items to bring in, like medkits, or even just cosmetics, which is just the hat that they wear on their head, just if you want to change it up a little bit, for a little fun. But besides that, it also kind of connects with the story a little bit. Swag, which is basically, it's just steam, like it's like water, which is basically just to keep them alive. It just keeps the engine running, as they say. So that's why they use it as kind of like their whole money system. So there's a little bit of a connection to the story with that. The game also rewards you at the end of a level if you can make it through with all your allies, which works like with a star system. So if you can make it out with like all your allies, that's a 3-star. If you make it out with maybe like one less, then that's 2. But if you're burtled down like with 1 or 2, then you have 1 star. And depending on the stars you get, the more rewards you can have. So it's just like a whole like rewarding system. But also at the end of a level, if you didn't make it and you lost, you lose that swag that you had obtained through that level, which is pretty interesting. It's pretty fun. And there's also just a little fun effect. It really doesn't affect the game. It's just a little fun thing to mention. If you're shooting at your enemies and like you shot them in the head, it actually can spring off their hat, which you can go pick it up and put it on one of your characters if you wanted to, and you can keep it forever. It's just a little nice, fun little addition if you want to try to collect all the cosmetics or whatever, which is just hats. It's pretty fun. So now, to break down the story for you, you're straight just thrown into the SteamWorld Heist. Yeah, you're put into an opening cutscene that tells you about the world and the overall gist of the game's story. Now, it's nothing majorly deep like a full-fledged RPG, obviously, but for what the game presents you with, it's actually pretty fun and interesting. Now, I won't spoil anything, but the game follows Captain Piper Faraday, who is a smuggler who's hiding out in the outskirts to keep away from the Royalists, who you learn about as you reach a certain point in the game. Which I'll let you find out for yourself, because it's spoiler heavy. So Captain Piper's ship is attacked at the start of the game and boarded at the start of the game by raiding scrappers, escaping with only 2 of her crewmates being her pilot Wonky and her first mate Gabriel Seabrass Stubb. So now, losing her whole crew except 2, Captain Piper has to rebuild her crew while taking out scrappers who have bad intentions for the common Steambot. So, my favorite part about the game is the characters that we meet throughout the main story that are actually the crew members you recruit. Because they all have, like, not only their own, like, specialties, like with, like, the classes I discussed earlier, but in terms of, like, their own unique personalities that can be quirky and fun when they share insight, like after missions, like they'll have like a little chat or whatever. Now, I'm not going to go through like all of the characters, but my favorite character, like for his quirks and stuff, was Bogdan the Great Ivansky. So he looks like your traditional like circus like strongman. Like there's just this big Russian dude, but he has like these quirks. Like he's like this. He's a Vanguard character, so he's like one of the big bulky ones. Like he uses like bazookas, things like that, and he likes to protect the weak. That's kind of like his whole thing. Like just this big strong guy. He likes to protect like the weak, like the small, like your big friendly giant. Pretty much is what he is. And he's just like pretty fun. Like when you see like his dialogue and stuff like that. And there's this other character that's pretty funny. His name is Valentine Butterbolt, and he's supposed to be like this old man, and he's super shaky. But when it comes to being a sentry, he's got the most like steady aim ever. Like he's like a sniper, and he gets you to like take his word because nobody really believes him. So you're kind of like the first to hire him. And he's pretty funny too, because I don't have it, sadly, when I was like recording, but he has like funny little like quirks. Like he tries to flirt with like Captain like Piper, and it doesn't work, but like he uses like some like weird lines and stuff, but it's just funny because he's just like an old little man, you know, but it's like cartoony way, like, you know, like it's nothing like weird. And another character is like Sally Bolt. She's like your typical like redneck southerner, like I like guns and I want to shoot people, like, you know, like she's pretty fun, like in that sense, you know, like she probably listens to like Billy Ray or whatever you hardcore southerners listen to, you know, stuff like that. And she's pretty fun, and she's having a good time. And so there's a bunch of characters that are just like this, that just have their fun little quirks. And there's like the DLC ones, I'm pretty sure they have their own too. But this is like probably my favorite part of the game. It's just the little characters. I don't know. I just like the whole characters that have personalities and things like that you can kind of like have like little connections to. The game's like overall graphics I think is pretty nice too. Like I just like the design of everything. I don't know how to explain it, but it gives that old like cartoony vibe to it, especially with the cutscene at the beginning of the game, like the intro. It just, they're different like styles, of course, but it gave me like Felix the Cat vibes, you know. I just like this old kind of like vibe to it. I don't know how to explain it, but it has like a retro kind of feeling to it. I don't know if that makes it doesn't make sense, but it's it has like a really like nice, like relaxing, comfortable feeling to it. It sounds so dumb, but that just I don't know. It's really nice. I don't know. I enjoy it a lot, especially with the soundtrack that's like with it. It's it gives very Borderlands vibes if you've kind of played those games, um, which is pretty sick, honestly. Um, and it's just kind of it really matches up a lot with the soundtrack. Like I'm pretty sure it's just copyright-free music. I hear like it has mixed feelings. Like a lot of people hate it or they like it, but I thought it was pretty good, honestly. So for my final rating of this game, I gotta give it an 8 out of 10. That's like the best I can give a turn-based shooter because I just don't really play turn-based games. But I love this game for what it was. I'm not gonna go through it probably again, just the first time, one and done. But it was really fun, and I think it's definitely worth the $4. I think if you guys like turn-based games, this is your game. Maybe you want to save your money. Maybe you want to save your money, and you want to get like Spearmint Tic Tacs to shove up your ass. I don't know what you do with your money, but you do you. But this game, $4, solid, solid. But anyways, man, thank you for tuning in if you did, and give me a like and subscribe. You know, because I'm gonna be trying to find other reviews and stuff to do. This upload is really late, but you know, ADHD and things, I can't really keep focus. So, you know, so I gotta find another game. But if you guys think of anything that I could review that's on like PlayStation, just you know, put it down in the comments below. But thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. Peace.